Hello, my friends, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. So today, Twitch dropped a new feature for its community guidelines, I guess you could call it. And unfortunately, a lot of it has got the VTubing world quite a Twitter, for lack of a better way to say it, really. We're going to go through it a little bit here, and thankfully most of it's not something that will ever affect me because I'm just not looking to be your sexiest VTuber out there. Let's face it, I'm a face full of tentacles. Twitch support released this post saying, today we're introducing enforcement notes, additional clarifications and examples within community guidelines designed to make our rules easier to follow. Going forward, we'll use enforcement notes to outline how our rules apply to trends we see on Twitch. If a new meta violates an existing policy, we see a spike in our data, or there is a large community confusion and discussion on social media, we'll look to publish an enforcement note under the relevant policy, clarifying what behaviors break our rules. These notes won't replace our other communications, such as blogs and tweets, but are meant to help provide a source of truth for all policy and enforcement updates. Our goal is to share the context you need to succeed on Twitch. So starting today, enforcement notes can be found in our safety center within community guidelines. When we publish a new enforcement note, we'll also notify you here via Twitch support. We've added a substantial number of new examples and clarifications under many of our existing policies for you to browse, and we've also consolidated several previous standalone pages into the community guidelines. Further additions to enforcement notes will have a visual indicator to let you know that we've updated the page. Today's additions can be found under the Enforcement Notes and Clarifications header under each relevant policy. Finally, we understand that even with a collapsible section in an index, that this can be a lot to read without using the search functionality on your browser, Ctrl+F, etc. We're working on a search functionality for the page in the future to make it easier to find exactly what you're looking for. And then, of course, a link to the article. I'm not even going to lie. Florks are probably one of my favorite things in the world. They're always funny. Flork says, so you're saying I can't show off these cum gutters anymore? Come on. Oh boy. We'll see if that gets me demonetized or not. Savvy responds, I can go on Twitch right now and find a good number of women who have their hips and ass exposed. You want to label fiction as a problem? Hi, I have a lolly body in real life. You're going to come for people like me too because I pass as 17? VTubers should have more relaxed rules, whereas the humans should be the ones actually covered. This is draconian and a direct attack on VTubers and art. And then you have Sonata VTuber. Do I need to pay the artist to cover my hips more? I need to know it. I have to put money aside. And here is the picture of her model. My wing's kind of in the way. And Twitch responds, hey Sonata, apologies. We specify for those areas of the body where coverage is required. The coverage must be fully opaque. Sheer or partially see-through clothing does not constitute coverage. Contextual exceptions apply. Your outfit would be fine in a virtual oasis while in the pools, hot tubs, and beaches category, for example. So you will see that some of those rules are going to be variable based on context of clothing, which doesn't really work too great for VTubers. So I figured we would take a look at the community guidelines in specific. And as we scroll through, you'll see they have the enforcement notes and clarifications in each one. For example, under the self-destructive behavior, they have selling activities which may cause harm for monetary gains, such as subscriptions, bits, etc. is not allowed. So a prohibited example would be taking shots of alcohol for subs or doing the cinnamon challenge for a set amount of bits. Drinking goal streams are allowed, providing the drinking that takes place is not excessive and would not reasonably be expected to cause harm. So something they do allow is I will open this bottle of Prosecco at 100 subscribers or drinking stream when we hit 50 new subs tonight. So you could lock the drinking stream behind a sub goal, but you can't have shots for individual subs. Prohibited example, I will down this bottle of vodka at 300 subscribers, or I will take a shot for every 100 bits. Realistically, your shots should be more than $1 anyway. Now, one of the ones that has people concerned is youth safety. Here under the enforcement notes and clarifications, depicting fictional anime characters of childlike appearance, lollies or shotas, with any kind of sexual framing is not allowed. This applies to VTubers within games where avatars are uploaded, such as VR chat with childlike avatars, even if the broadcaster and operator of the avatar is above the age of 18. Any humor regarding anything sexual in relation to minors will result in immediate action on your account. Stating you are below the age of 13 anywhere on Twitch, even if intended to be humorous, will result in your account being permanently deactivated in accordance with applicable laws. Now, the real important one, the one that has honestly been causing the most problem for VTubers in general for quite a while, is the Attire. Enforcement notes and clarifications. When evaluating reports for sexual conduct, Attire is just one factor we will use in making a determination on whether conduct is acceptable. We recommend streamers wear attire that would be publicly appropriate for the context, location, and activity they are broadcasting. For example, workout clothes would be appropriate for a fitness stream, and a swimsuit would be appropriate for a stream from a public beach. The attire policy applies to VTubers in the same way it applies to other streamers. Genitalia, buttocks, hips, female-presented nipples, and underbust must be covered at all times on general streams. These guidelines apply to VTube models, but not video game characters, including those uploaded into a game such as VR Chat. Hip coverage is often forgotten in this rule. Please be sure that your VTube model covers this area. Festival and beachwear allows slightly more revealing clothing when within the relevant category, allowing the showing of hips and underbust, but genitalia and female-presenting nipples must still be covered. Static or slightly animated artwork for streams such as stream starting, be right back, and stream ending artwork must follow all of our guidelines. If you are in a setting, such as pool, hot tub, or beach, that may not be real, props do not require water within them for us to still consider you in the correct context. What? Apparently people can just sit there in a dry pool in their bathing suit, but hey. Whatever. Your content is still required to be in the correct category and apply any applicable content classification labels. If we cannot functionally tell whether you are clothed, or if you are implying you are not clothed, through methods such as tight skin-toned clothing, black bars, blurred, hiding behind props, or being off-screen, you will be at risk of enforcement of our attire and possibly our sexual content policies. Now, of course, this here is the part that has most everybody in a tizzy. And understandably, when you realize that a lot of VTubers spend months and thousands of dollars on their models, it's difficult when even slightly misinterpreting this can cause them issues. And it's worse when it feels like they're often judged more harshly than real people. Rev of Rev Says Desus says, please realize the majority of these rules will be used to disproportionately target VTubers while allowing cam girls to freely promote their adult content. Amusing thing. Funny if they actually enforced those rules on breadtubers, Hassan would be flipping burgers. Unfortunately, his family's rich, so he wouldn't be. But that's beside the point. You do have one person who has pointed out that Twitch has always required the hips to be covered, and the wording is now clearer. I've been telling VTubers this for over a year. This is why so many of you keep getting banned. This image is 2 years old. Please know the terms of service before getting your model made. And this is Petrie who posted this. This is standard guidelines. We don't permit streamers to be full or partially nude, including exposing genitals or buttocks. We do not permit the visible outlines of genitalia, even when covered. Broadcasting nude or partially nude minors is always prohibited, regardless of context. Here is the examples of what is not allowed. So obviously no nipples showing through, no nipples showing over the bra, no bulges. For those who present as women, we ask that you cover your nipples. We do not permit exposed underbust. Cleavage is unrestricted as long as these coverage requirements are met. So there you go. You can have all that you want as long as there's nothing below the nipples showing, apparently. For all streamers, you must cover the area extending from your hips to the bottom of your pelvis and buttocks. So basically high-rise underwear for the women and a good pair of briefs for the men, which means, to answer Flork's question, he would in fact be able to show his cum gutters. For those areas of the body where coverage is required, must be fully opaque, blah, blah, blah. And of course, this does change if, for example, if a VTuber was to have something like this in a pool and hot tub setting, they'd be fine. Lucas Merriweather at Mary Dog has an amusing comment about, it's crazy how Twitch's TOS prohibits VTubers who wear certain clothes, but if they use 3D models in VR chat, that's somehow totally fine because that's a video game. Well, Twitch, by that logic, VTube Studio is a game. It's on Steam, right? Someone does go through and point out that it's actually listed as a software on Steam, but the exception only applying to VR chat is living proof of Twitch being totally inept at their own content policies. They really need to educate themselves on VTubing. Kershaw points out there should be zero difference in rule applications in VR chat models versus VTubers. It makes no sense that there is a difference. Or maybe, just maybe, stop being anime racist and treat VTubers like the flesh tubers on the site. Now here's the interesting thing to me is if I can load my own model into VR chat, then obviously I have control over what the character is wearing. I may not have control what everybody else in that chat is wearing, but I have control of my own character. Worse, the important word in VR chat and VTuber is virtual. The V stands for the same thing in both, and there really is no good reason why one should be treated differently from the other. And I did actually spend a little bit of time this evening watching a little bit of VR chat, and all I gotta say is I do not understand what's going on, so I can only assume that it is heavily male focused, because it did not make any sense to me. Finally, I do believe we're going to start to see some interesting ways for people to try to get around the policy, or to at least keep themselves from having to deal with it. Slime Alien VTuber says, announcement: to avoid being banned by Twitch, I've decided to no longer have exposed hips or booba. In fact, having a body at all is too risky. Praise the puddle.
Compliance!
This is in response to Lee Kitties. Twitch has now confirmed that VTuber hips must be covered. I can think of many VTubers who don't have theirs fully covered, me included. The issue is commissioning new outfits to meet ever-changing guidelines is expensive and time-consuming. Be aware of this clarified rule. Now, as we saw earlier, the rule probably really was always that VTubers had to be covered. Unfortunately, because Twitch has never been particularly clear, a lot of people misunderstood that. Or, and I'm going to be entirely honest, a lot of these people are very intelligent and they were looking for a way around the rule. And there's nothing wrong with that in my opinion. The unfortunate thing is Twitch did not seek to clarify that, yes, they were in fact needing to strictly follow the same rule. Having commissioned my own VTube model, 3 times now? This is version number 3 you're looking at here. I can definitely understand why VTubers would be extremely frustrated with these clarified rules. A lot of them are going to have to spend thousands of dollars or use some kind of in-between cover-up to keep themselves going. Because getting a VTube model is not always the cheapest thing. I will be honest, I got mine through my Vtuber.com. I got my first one through my Vtuber.com, and I got this one from my Vtuber.com. I've always been very happy with how it works. The only thing I wish I could have better is I wish my mouth tentacles were animated better. But at the same time, my model is kind of unique in that it doesn't really have a mouth. So I know I present a specific set of challenges. I would someday love to be able to afford a higher quality model. I'm happy with the one I got, and at the price I got it, considering the middle time was over $1,000, I'm not at all unhappy in that regard. Always some more tweaks that can be made, however. All that said, I'm sure your favorite VTuber could use a little love today. They may be panicking, they may be concerned. A lot of them are probably fine because not everybody is dressed down. I would recommend looking for a lot of them in hot tubs, beaches, and swimsuits, or whatever in the world it is again, for a little while until they can get their new models done up. Once again, thankfully, not an issue I have, so when you see me on Twitch, I'll always be where I normally am. And let me know your thoughts about all this stuff down in the comments. Do you feel that VTubers should be judged on par with FleshTubers? Do you think that these rules are more draconian towards VTubers? I do feel that the evidence on Twitch is that they do have a tendency to skew against VTubers. So I would be concerned that this will cause even more bans, but time will certainly tell. Let me know about your thoughts down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. If you really liked it, you can feel free to share it around, and I will catch you later.